Thank you for being here today with us. So, Uchenna Ibe with us today. Thank you also, Uchenna. So, she's the founder. I think I hear. Can you guys turn off the mic? So, she's the founder and CEO of Ibe Collection in Nigeria, a company that makes beautiful home essentials. Since starting in 2006, her company has operated in over 20 retail stores nationwide, provided eco-friendly home essentials. And she's also dedicated to empowering women through mentoring and training. So welcome, Uchenna.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you.
Thank you. And Vanessa with us here. So she's going to ask the questions. So maybe Vanessa, you can do a little intro about yourself and then we can start.
Okay, my pleasure. Can you hear me? All right. Thank you so much, Uchenna, for joining us. My name is Vanessa. I am I'm a young woman from Zimbabwe, but right now I'm in Ethiopia, working here with HOSV. So I'm the communications manager for HOSV. So it's such a pleasure to have you join us, and also to kick away the session. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then also your background, so that we can inspire the people in the room? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, and thanks for having me, Vanessa. My name is Uchenna Ibe, and I'm CEO of Ivy League Collections in Lagos, Nigeria. We've been in business for 16 years. We are an interior design and a textile waste management company. We are very keen on advocacy, on green economy, sustainability, and then also we design very beautiful indigenous textiles, products using local textiles, and also we do turnkey projects for hotels, supply stores, and we train young women who mostly people who are out of school and don't have any skills. We find out that in our part of Nigeria, many young women, when their parents can't afford to take them to school, send them to the university, they don't have any skills and they can't go further. So we train some of them in tailoring and also in interior design and textile design, and that helps them gain a livelihood. So we've trained over 1,600 women, and we want to do more. So that's my business background. I don't know if you asked my personal background, so I'll leave that out. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, basically that as well, but you seem to have answered a little bit about what I was going to ask now. I was going to ask, like, what motivated you to start your business? Was it only because you wanted to help in the community, or there's also like more reasons to that narrative as well?
Okay. Actually, I didn't set out to start a business. When I'm a graduate of geography and urban and regional planning, and when I finished from school, and I had to stay with my elder sister, she had a baby, and I stayed with her for a year. Then I got married at 23. So when I got married, my I was idle. I just got married, and then settling down, I noticed the home wasn't so beautiful. So I used the skills that I had learned in my sister's interior design business. And I brought out the sewing machine that my mother gave me during my wedding. And I started fixing the curtains, the duvets, the bed sheets, and in the living room, I changed the covers and so many things. I beautified the house. So my husband's friends will come and they'll say, "Oh, this is looking nice. Can you make for us? Can you make for us?" So it was actually a hobby. And then I found myself making products. I became busy going to the market, buying textiles and making all these beautiful products for the home. And that was how Ivy League Collections was born. And then I didn't have any formal space, I didn't have any training in business. So it was what I had learned in the 1 year I lived with my elder sister that I started those skills, I started using it. And then when the orders became so much, I had to call my neighbors. They had like younger sisters and friends. I said, "Do you want to help me? I'll pay you." And I started paying. Then it moved from a hobby to a business on one particular event. I was very curious. I said, I want to know the viability of this business. I want to know what it's worth economically. Because back then in Nigeria, many people were not using duvets or they were not so interested in too much home furnishing products. Like you walk into a store like IKEA or game stores, or you walk into Neiman Marcus, Walmart. So you see products for the home, but it's not the market and it was stressful. So I took it to the biggest store in Nigeria, which was a Mega Plaza. It was called Mega Plaza. And I took 6 duvets, king size duvets, and they said, no, we don't want that. We don't want that. We sell only electronics, tables, and chairs. I said, why don't you give it a try? Most people that come here, they want to fix their houses. So they took the 6 pieces and they sold it that same evening because the store closes at 10. And the very next day, they called me. They said, can we have more? Can we have more? And can you make for the children? Can you make for the parents? And that was how I actually saw it as a business and I started working on it.
Okay, quite motivating. Like your next big thing could be in your hobby. Actually, my next question was going to be like, what was your first like big success? When did you hit the mark and you were like, this is it for the business? Like you said, it was more of a hobby, and then you asked your friends or your neighbors to help you. When did you actually think like, okay, now this is like a big business. You can have like clients, appointments, orders, and stuff like that. Like when did the breakthrough happen? Also, if you could explain like the time frame, was it immediately or it was some years after?
I had little children in the early 2000. I had the little ones, so I couldn't really go out much. And my husband and I made a deal. He said, "Please, can you take care of the children?" There were 3, and then he said, "Can you take care of the children?" This was like 4 or 5 years later. I was still working from home. And you know the funny thing, my husband would go to work and I moved all the furniture in the living room. We moved them to one side and we put out the sewing machines. Then I had to buy 2 more sewing machines. And then I had 2 extra girls working with me. So in the mornings, the home was a factory. And in the evening, it became a home again. So in the evening, we sweep up, we rearrange the furniture before my husband got home. So I said, one day he's going to find out what I'm doing. So I had to tell him, I said, do you notice anything different here? He said, no. I said, in the morning we work here, in the evening, but now I have to report myself because I need your help. I'm getting more orders and I have to register the business. I don't have any training in this. How do I go about it? So this was like 3 years after. So back in 2004 or 5, we got the business registered. And then I would say that was the first major break, and we supplied our first big order to the store. So that store, Mega Plaza, was the very first store and the very first big break we had. Then I had to buy a van. My husband saw that the business was moving on well. We had to buy a van, and then we started going from store to store and marketing and all of that. So yes, I would say back in 2006 was when it officially became a business. Prior to that, it was more like a hobby.
So how was his reaction while your business getting better and better?
Oh, he was very excited actually. I would say he's my biggest cheerleader. And
Yeah.
he was my biggest cheerleader. And every opportunity that he would see within Lagos and in other big cities of Nigeria, he would ask, he would tell me, call this number, check something, look at this. I see something you like. And honestly, for the first 4 years, for the next 4 years, which is like from 2006 to 2010, that my big business began to expand. I would travel abroad and I wouldn't buy clothes for myself. I wouldn't buy anything for myself. I would be buying home goods. I'll be buying duvets, buying towels, buying anything because I wanted international standards. So to be able to help me improve in my own standards, in my own local standards, because I didn't have any mentor. I didn't have any mentor. So I was looking for direction. And that led me to register with Walden University. The children were still small. So I did a 2-year online degree on entrepreneurship. I did an MBA, which helped me. I did an MBA in entrepreneurship. So that helped me a lot to learn more about, business, how the business can function better, organize my staff, and it just helped me a lot because that was the only help I could get back then. Yes. Mm.
Sorry, I wasn't audible. So, what was the biggest challenges that you faced during this journey?
Okay, so a lot of challenges. First of all, was getting the right skill set. Many young people, it was a new sector. It wasn't like the regular sector where we would have more hands. So having a soft furnishing company in Nigeria back in 2006, 2010, tailors and people would regularly make dresses and clothes. We didn't have too many people making home goods or soft furnishing products. So I had to go online, read a lot of label, educate myself. I had to do a lot of reading. I did a lot of training. I attended a lot of accelerator programs in Nigeria and internationally as well. I did the Sherry Blair Foundation program with Lagos Business School. I did there was another program on leadership. I did a lot of accelerator programs trying to equip myself to be able to organize my business formally. And then when I got that done, it was now the issue of funding. As the business was expanding, I needed more funds to run the business. So interest rates were very high in Nigeria. It's from 16% to almost 23%. So more like you're working for the stores. But as soon as I started getting bigger stores and selling the business to organizations, it helped us with our cash flow. And we were able to save as a business and have some liquid cash so that when orders come in, we'll be able to meet up. And then I had issues with negotiating my contracts. As a young business, somebody approaches you and says, "Oh, can you do this? It's worth $30,000, and then we'll pay you 50%." And you say yes. Then you find out that out of your excitement, you have said yes, but you didn't work it out. So I took some courses online. There's a Goldman Sachs 10,000 women program. It's on Coursera and it's totally free. It's totally free. So I started doing the courses. I saw it online. I started doing those courses, and I learned there's a course called Fundamentals of Negotiation. And I started doing that course, and it taught me, not to be too eager to say yes, how to manage my negotiations, and so many things like that. So those were basically the issue, and then government regulations. Another issue we had was the monetary policy Nigeria had, and fluctuation of the dollar against the naira. Sometimes some of the products we use are imported, the raw materials. So you could have a price, and at the time the fabrics come in or the raw materials come in, the dollar has changed, naira has weakened against the dollar or against in other currencies, and you're losing money. So that was another issue that we had. Yes.
Great. So when we think about the young generation, especially women, let's say 18 to 23, 24, how do you think they should equip themselves to become a businesswoman? So education is really
The
important in this part, but what do you suggest while they're growing up? What should they do?
The most important thing for young women is to identify their passion. I believe in every young woman there is there's a number of gifts that has been deposited in every human being on earth. There are a number of gifts that have been deposited, and they should look within themselves and find out what those gifts are. How do you identify these gifts? You identify them by understanding the simple things that you do. Anything that you do that comes easily. Somebody is having a party and they say, can somebody give the vote of thanks? Can somebody just run us through the program? Then you know, and you do that so well, that means you have a gift of being a public speaker, a host, you know what I mean? And then you go somewhere else, you find out that you're very good with numbers, even though you didn't do mathematics or you didn't do something, you find out you're very good with numbers. So we have to have moments of reflection, look within ourselves and see what we enjoy doing. That is the first start. And then when you find what you like doing, you look around you to see if there are people that can mentor you. If you're a young woman and you're a lawyer, you look around you and see if there are very strong voices in the law profession around you that you can go during the holidays, during vacation, and understudy them like an intern in their establishment. So you'll even see, am I really cut out to be a lawyer? Because you can read law and then you don't want to practice law, you know. So some of these things they can, and then also whatever you're interested in, you don't have to wait till you finish from the university. Don't spend the holidays on just doing nothing. These are periods where you can go and work part-time, gain experience, because no knowledge is lost. Look within your country for certifications that you can belong to member of very good organizations that are doing the business or doing uh, or you're interested in what they're doing. You register yourself and then you ask a lot of questions, do a lot of research. And even from school, you can be in a university and you're doing online courses. You can be in a university and you're doing online courses in the business or interest you have, so that when you finish from school, you would have gone ahead, even of your peers, you would have gone ahead. So these are some of the things. And ask a lot of questions. Ask questions. In Nigeria, I come from the Igbo tribe, and there's an adage we have. It goes, "Onya afufo, onya ajụjụ adịghị ụzọ," and that means she that asks questions, she or he that asks questions doesn't get missing. You don't get lost.
Oh, yes, I totally agree. But so when we're young, to ask question, first we need to gain some confidence. So what do you suggest for that? To become more confidence, to ask questions or follow our dreams?
It's important to first of all build your self-esteem. Every one of us has special gifts. And as long as you understand that you have special gifts, you don't let people run you down, talk down at you. You make sure that you relate to positive thinking people. I tell the younger ones to develop a growth a mindset that is positive and disassociate themselves with toxic friends, toxic relationships. The For the women or the men, the people that you have in your life, like partners, they can influence you positively or negatively. If you have a boyfriend who is not proactive, he's going to pull you back. If you have a girlfriend who's not proactive, she's going to pull you back. But if you relate with somebody who is very intelligent and knowledgeable, you find out that both of you are growing well. If you have girlfriends, all they do is makeup, hair, wearing the best clothes, they're not going to get far. But if you have a girlfriend, she's smart and she's also beautiful. You go to the mall, you shop, you look good, you also study. Then there's a balance. If you're a guy and you play too much football and you don't have time for anything because you say you're in university, when you finish, you will get a job. No, time is ticking. So the most fundamental thing is that they have self-esteem. Don't let anybody talk you down, and begin to develop a growth mindset, as well as having people around you who are positive-minded people, and people with ambition and goals. And then they have to also set their goals for themselves. They also have to set their goals. So when you have set goals, you keep a diary. Simple things you can do. Keep a diary. Early in the year, set your goals and check yourself like every quarter. See how far you have come. Even if you didn't meet up, there's nothing wrong with it. Rome was not built in a day. Don't beat yourself up. Like I've always battled with my weight. I've always wanted to be shapely, even though I didn't want to be skinny. So each time I have 1 or 2 plates of Nigerian jollof rice, I gain weight. And I tell myself, okay, so next weekend I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to do 10,000 miles. I'm going to 10,000 steps. I'm going to do something to get me back on track. So I tell young ones, don't be afraid if you fall off track. You can always get back on. The most important thing is to get back on. Always have the mindset to push yourself and get back on.
That's a great advice, Uchenna, especially the toxic relationships. That's where we really, figured out who is good for us and who is bad for our journey, so they don't pull us back. Definitely.
Yes.
Yes, you're so right about that. So, Vanessa, do you want to keep asking or should I? Are you here? Okay, I think she's,
Yes, I am. The network keeps dropping me off, so I'll just turn off my camera for now.
okay, okay. Then you can ask the next question.
Okay. You mentor many women, and can you share a success story of someone you have mentored, and you have like seen that, oh, this person's journey has now improved, and because of meeting paths with you, their lives have changed as well. Like some of the success stories you have from your business.
Okay, I'll tell you about Bola. I'll tell you about 2 people. So the first person is Bola. So she was my first tailor, and she was in the neighborhood. One of the girls I invited when I started in my business, when I was working in the house. And she was a young lady, she wasn't married. I trained her and she became so good. She got married. She wasn't educated, but she was so talented in designing. So I trained her. About 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, she got married, and today she has her own establishment. And she's each time she comes to visit me with her 2 little girls, and I'm Faith she finished from secondary school and there wasn't any money to send her to the university. So we admitted her, we employed her in Ivy League collections, and she was a very naughty little girl. She was always coming late from to the office, and her father would come running after her, and sometimes he would beat her. So I told the father, can you leave her for me? She was 17 and she was a very beautiful girl. So sometimes the boys in the neighborhood, they used to distract her. So I said, you need to make something out of your life. Forget about these boys. Let me train you. So she took a entrance into the university 2 or 3 times. She didn't make it and she was very disillusioned. So I kept encouraging her. And later she got into the University of Benin in Nigeria, and she read business administration. In the last 5 years, she has graduated, and she used to come and help me during the holidays. And I'm happy to say that last month she got employed into one of the very good banks in Nigeria. She's a banker now. She's working in Standard Chartered Bank in Nigeria. So I'm so excited for her. She's and there's so many of them, so many stories. We've worked with some young men too, and the young men have gone ahead to have their own tailoring businesses. Some of them don't even tailor. Some of them don't make home soft furnishing. And then, lately we're training women in circularity practices. We're training people, establishments, hotels, um, business owners in how to be more eco-friendly in their production and manufacturing. So that's something extra we also do in at Ivy League Collections.
Oh, wow, thank you so much. I think it's very important to have these success stories because at times you have people you don't even know you helped so much praying for you or um, being your strength at your weakest point. So I'm really inspired by that as well. And also like considering like your focus on eco-friendly products and also if you can explain what those are, how has this changed your business, like to have a strategy or a different focus from just everybody else?
Yeah, so in Nigeria, there's little attention paid to the environment when it comes to textile waste. There is more attention paid to recycling metals and plastics. But the textile waste industry has not been properly advised. There is no government policy in Nigeria, as I speak to you, concerning textile waste management. So we want to stand in, there are many organizations coming up now with issues that have to do with textile waste, and I'm advocating for better textile waste management. There are a lot of African countries receiving second-hand clothing from the West, from America, from Europe, and this second-hand clothing, even after they're used here, they end up in the landfills, and they keep polluting the environment and causing flooding and so many other things. That is one. Secondly, we use things and we don't think about how it affects the environment. It takes over 50 years for textiles to be degradable into the soil. And at that time, it's also emitting very harmful carbon emissions into the environment. So sometimes you have people having lung problems, you have people with other health issues. So we have to create the awareness. So right now, what we're doing mostly is advocacy. And then in our own business and in our tailored training for other people in the fashion industry and also the home goods essential industry, we're teaching them how to calculate properly. So from their procurement, they don't have waste. And then how to go for alternative energy supply, like using solar in their establishments. Then when it comes to their manufacturing, how to use eco-friendly packaging. Because in Nigeria, most people like you go to the stores, they're using a nylon to package soft furnishing products like bed sheets and duvets. You see, they're using nylons, this thick nylons. That's what they're using. So we're telling them there's jute, there's cloth, there's thick natural fibers you can use to package these things. We're giving them alternatives and we're sharing information and then asking them, teaching them how they can tailor their processes to include more circular practices and be more friendly to the environment. So we're preaching green economy.
That is great, so impactful. I mean, speaking from someone coming from Zimbabwe and who has visited several African countries, I can say like a lot of people are not really cognizant about the importance of the environment, like you say. So this is also important. Like it's not just a business, but it's making an impact in our communities as well. You help people without actually knowing that you're helping them, which is actually very good. So my next question for you is like, you're an ambassador of Impact Her, and also maybe you can tell us a bit about Impact Her. But as an ambassador of Impact Her, what do you hope to achieve?
Thank you so much. I've been the Nigerian ambassador for Impact for about 4 years now. When we started off, it was just mainly in Lagos. Impact was one of the accelerator programs that I took part in, and I saw how impactful it was. Impact is one of the Nigerian, one of the African, one of the NGOs tailored towards improving women's skills and improving their entrepreneurship ability in Africa. They're in 52 countries in Africa. And then when they asked me to be their Nigerian ambassador, I was very excited because they walk the talk. Impactor has been so amazing. They do free websites for women. They do free business registration. They assist with building a marketing strategy, growth strategy for your business, exit strategy, all sorts of things they offer pro bono. They are in association with a lot of companies who offer free services, and they're even in partnership with UN Women and so many other organizations like Fidelity Bank in Nigeria, Zenith Bank, and they have a very strong network, internationally as well. So far, I've been able to move Impact Hub from one community, which is in Lagos State, Nigeria. And right now, we are in 7 communities in Nigeria, 7 states of Nigeria. And my goal is that by December, we would have Impact Hub in 15 states of Nigeria. And in 2024, we'll cover the remaining 17 or so states, so that there'll be an Impact Hub community where women can come together and harness their knowledge, work together, and be there for each other, promote their businesses, moral support, gender support, and fight most of the challenges they find. Because when you work alone, when you work alone, you can get ahead, but when you work together, you can get further. So I want to build communities through Impact Hub when women can get further working together.
Thank you so much, Uchenna. So for
Okay,
our
definitely, definitely.
yes, so for our students here, so how do they connect with you or these organizations? So we're also having this Q&A session so we can open the doors for our students with the mentors or founders so they can learn from. So how do they get connected with you, or how do they join these organizations if they want to?
Okay, so I don't know. Maybe um, I can share my LinkedIn profile. I can share my business on Instagram with them, and then they can follow me on LinkedIn and then also ask questions. They can send me messages. I can share my email address with you, and you can, share with them. So I hope that will help. Most of the training, especially Goldman Sachs, and the Goldman Sachs is free. And now they have the French. They have the French version, which is and that's really great. So French-speaking Africa can do the Goldman Sachs courses. So that's really amazing. And they have 13 courses, so many courses that they can do, even their students. It doesn't stop them. Instead of playing too much, they can start the courses, and it's all self-paced, so they can do it at their own pace. And when they finish, they'll be allowed and into the Goldman Sachs they'll be allowed into the Goldman Sachs community. There's an online community for Goldman Sachs, so they'll become members of that community, and they'll meet other they'll meet a lot more business people all over the world. And if they're also interested in Impactor, that I have direct I'm in a direct position to help them with the Impactor as well, and then they can join Impactor. They can join Impactor as well. So
Yes.
there are many opportunities, so they should feel free to reach out. I love to engage with young minds, because they are the future for tomorrow. You know, the future for tomorrow. So I love to engage with young minds, and I tell them that they have an advantage, because even when we were their ages, we didn't have all these resources at our beck and call. So they have no reason to fail, no reason at all. All of them must come out excellent, because they have all these opportunities to develop themselves and to do really well. And they have people to help them. So I'm expecting to hear good news from everyone.
Thank you so much. Also, we have a question from Uganda. So I think she's asking how, so her passion to work for your company is extremely increasing day by day. How can she work with your company? We had a question like this.
She's in Uganda and I'm in Nigeria. So how are we going to do that?
I'm not sure if it's Uganda, but we have a, yeah, on the forum we have, yeah, this kind of question. But maybe still, if someone maybe in Nigeria, so maybe we have friends in there. So if they want to work, how can they do that?
There are some companies, depending on her area of specialization, there are companies that she can work virtually with. She can work virtually. So I think that will work. And then if the people want to outsource certain skills like accounting, you can outsource accounting, you can outsource some parts of management, you can outsource marketing. Somebody can write a marketing plan. You can outsource social media. So really, remote work is not is in now. Um, my son visited from Canada and he was here with his laptop, he was working and he was earning his money. So it's not impossible to work remotely. Yes, he
Yes,
was getting paid. So people actually work remotely. Yes.
yes. Okay, Uchenna, thank you so much for joining us here today. So, anyone, do you have any questions before we calling it off? Let us know if you have any questions for Uchenna. You can all or raise your hands. Any final advice? Yes.
Okay.
Yes, any.
Um,
Yeah, so we have one. Any final advice? And the other one, yes, go ahead, Eniola.
okay. So for final advice, I would say look within yourself. I'll tell you it's a very short story. I stayed a lot with my grandmother when she lived to 107 years, and she's a very wise woman. So she told me I was helping her in the kitchen one day, and she said I was cutting onions, and I was it makes you cry, tear up. So I said, oh, I have my eyes. She said, just like an onions, every woman has different layers and different flavors. And know that within you have a deposit of so many gifts. And continue to peel the onions, and you begin to discover the depth of your gifts till you get to the very core, and that is your brightest. So even as you get older, the older you get, the more experience you have, the more wisdom you have. So she says, I can cry today because I'm peeling the onions, but I find out that if I get to the bulb, to the middle, I will not tear up again. So she asked me to continue discovering myself and to be the best version. Walk on your own lane. Don't look at other people. Walk on your own lane. And I want to ask,
So,
can I get a screenshot of the attendance as well? A screenshot you sent to me.
yes, yes, I will. And also, we have
Okay.
another question from Eniola. Go ahead, Eniola.
Okay.
Hello, Ma. Thank you very much for your insightful words. And yes, I am an undergraduate student in University of Technology, Mina, that's in Nigeria. And I believe all what you said has really inspired me. But I just wanted to ask or streamline the question as being an undergraduate female, like treading this path that you've tread on. Like, what would you have to say to me, ma'am?
Okay, you find out, don't be afraid to start something. Like the usual thing they say, if Thomas Edison hadn't tried like a million times, we wouldn't have the light bulb today. And even you find out that the light bulb is getting extinct and there are other sources of power and power generation now, solar and other alternative sources of power. So whatever your passion is, start it, start small. Don't ever be afraid to start small. Don't ever be afraid to start small. Start it. That's the most important thing. And seek advice. Don't go alone. When you go alone, you won't go far. So don't go alone. Collaboration is also very key. And even as young as you are, join women groups. There's so many, now that we're talking about gender equity, gender equality, so there's more group and more focus on women. And the women who have done it and been there are more keen now and empowered in helping younger women. Like in Rwanda, I visited Rwanda 2 months ago, and 60% of the Rwandan parliament is women. 60% of Rwandan parliament, and now is in their constitution. And the whole of Africa is cheering Rwanda. And then here in Nigeria, we're still battling to get even 30% representation in politics in the parliament. And Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa. So you see, so whatever you're doing, start it. Don't be afraid, because you think you're not making impact, but you are. You're making impact. You're making impact. As long as somebody around you is learning and you're growing, you are making impact.
Thank you so much, Ma.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Any other questions? Oh, Mariam, how can we build a business mindset? Asking, as a woman in tech, we focus too much on the technical side in tech.
There's a business model for every business. So even as a woman in tech, your business model has HR, it has marketing, it has every other thing. So you must also have the face of the business by building and determining your mission and your vision for your business, and you have it enshrined in that business, you'll be able to discover the core of who you are. So even though you're providing tech, enabled services and support, there is a face behind that business that cares about people. So you can even start an initiative, where you're teaching tech for schoolgirls, or tech for secondary school, or tech for teenagers. And that's like expanding your business to have social impact. So there is nothing that you're doing that there is not a human angle to it. You have so much to give, honestly. And now we're looking at enabling women and enabling businesses to be more tech savvy. This is your time. So I expect you to even make the biggest impact than people that are into products and other services. The world is going towards technology and it's not going away. So this is an opportunity for you to showcase your differentiation and share your value proposition with the world. This is why I'm different. This is why I'm unique. I'm a tech business doing this and this, but I focus on teens. So by the time the teens are even in the university, they are also enabled and they can do even much better than you have done. So there's a whole um, box, there's so many ideas for you to unpack. So you're in a good space.
So how do you face with the rejection, especially when you were younger? It's the hardest when you have like 20, 22, 24. When you have a dream, you will face rejection because this is life. What do you suggest for that? How can we be more confident for the rejections?
Know that rejection will come. Even in your personal life, everybody's not going to like you. Even in personal life, sometimes you go to a party, you see people you like, you say hello to them, they look at you and they turn away. And then you say hello to somebody else and they hug you and say, "Oh, I'm so happy you made my day. You're the best person I've seen today." So just know that in this world, not everybody is not going to like you. That applies to business as well. Everybody's not going to like your business idea. So, and then the only thing you owe the person that rejected you owes you is to ask, is for you to ask, please, why didn't I qualify? Please, can you share why I didn't qualify? Or can you tell me a little bit an area where I can um an area where I can improve on? So if you get up to 7 or 8 of that, you work on it, you find out that the rejections will be less. Yes. Okay. My leadership style, I would say I'm more of people oriented leader. I like people I'm a transformational leader. I'm people oriented. I like to impact people. So I like to lead and give people room to breathe. So I like my teams to come together, share ideas. Like today, we were packaging some bedding, and my one of my staff said, "Madam, you brought a cream wrap. The cream wrap is so close to the color of the duvet. So can we change it to wine red? Can we change it to coffee brown so there's a contrast and it doesn't look dull on the shelf?" My staff told me that today. His name is Ibrahim. And I said, "Oh, Ibrahim, thank you so much for that idea." So I'm a transformational leader and I'm a people's um, a leader. I like people to air their views. I never ever think I know it all. Actually, when I go into work, I tell myself, "You're an empty vessel. You don't know anything." So I encourage my staff to share their ideas, share their opinion, and we brainstorm. That helps us always to come up with the right things to do. It has helped a lot.
Great. Dori, do you want to ask something? I see you're raising your hand.
Yeah,
Yes,
um,
go ahead.
first of all, thank you for being here. The session was very inspiring. My question is, most of us here are students, and in the future, when we finish school, how do we figure out what we want to do in our lives? Like you started your business from your hobby, and how do we start our own business or our own path in life?
So before you finish school, you know what you're studying. Can you share with me what you're studying?
Most of us here are tech students, like software engineering.
Okay. Are there other things that you like to do apart from the schoolwork?
Yeah, like designing or graphic designs or video productions, stuff like
So
that.
you already have two businesses running. You're set to go, girl. Go get them.
Yes.
You already have two businesses running. So what you're going to do for me, make sure you keep in touch and we'll talk some more. What you're going to do for me is that you're going to design your logo for your business. Give it a name. You tell me whether the graphic designing or the what's the other one you talked about? You said graphic design and something else. So I want you to make a logo, find a name and make a logo for your these two things you enjoy doing, and then start researching on the world's best graphic design companies and look at their companies' goals, their missions, and see if they align with them and continue to follow them and learn. Follow Facebook, all these big companies that are doing Google, and see if you even if you want to do internship, apply in places like Google and see if you get accepted. And that will also encourage you more and you learn more before you now set off on your own. Don't always be in a hurry to start on your own because you make a lot more mistakes. There's everything good about volunteering. You can go and volunteer in some organizations, even as a student during the holiday. If there's a good tech company where they do graphic design or other designs in your neighborhood, take 2 weeks to a month during the vacation. You go and do internship, even if you don't get paid. You will learn a lot. So by the time you're done with school, you have an idea of what you're going to do. So volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. Make sure you volunteer, and also don't be in a hurry to work for to start on your own. You can do a year or two in an organization, so you know how to set up your business properly, and make sure that you follow all the legal expectations within your country and policies. So some of these things you don't know, you start a business and you make mistakes and you lose money. So try and understudy experts in the field before you start off on your own.
Thank you, Uchenna. That was a great advice. Also, if you see the history, for example, Leonardo da Vinci, these people always do science, poem, biology, everything. So just because we're studying something, that doesn't mean also we're stuck in that. You know, we can have hobbies and we can have two, three businesses in our lifetimes. So that was a really great advice. We have another question here. What are your most important habits, routines, mindset that contributed to your success?
My most important routine, I wake up in the morning, I always pray. Sometimes I'm rushing off and I don't pray. You know what I do? I sing. I put on my phone and I sing, but I always make sure I focus on God when I wake up in the morning. And then to keep healthy, I try to exercise a minimum of 3 times a week. I do 1 hour, or I do an average of 8 to 10,000 steps a day, or I go to the gym and I do weight training. And also, I try to eat healthy. I keep away from junk food, even though junk food is very delicious. I try not to eat it often. So I try to keep away from fizzy drinks as well, because they're very high in sugar. So I rather eat fruits. I do yoga once in a while. I wish I could do more of that, but the yoga classes in Nigeria are very expensive. So I go to the gym. So when I catch it at the gym, I do that. And then also I relate a lot. Um, I relate a lot with other women. I have very strong network of women who are my friends and also business colleagues as well. So we share ideas together. We trade off each other, because when you're alone, you don't know everything. So just at a casual gathering of women, you can pick up 1 or 2 things. So I always go and mix up with other people. I always learn something from them. Yes, and I love to dance. I love to dance, and I love outdoor activities. My favorite place in the world is Niagara Falls. So when I go visit my children in Canada, I must visit Niagara Falls. I love it. I love it at the falls. So yes, and I love nature. I love hiking. I've um, I've hiked some hills in my life with my husband. We love hiking. We love taking long walks, and then also we love mixing with people, family and friends as well.
I think your routines are directly connected to the separate, which is nature, singing, and dancing, which is
Yes.
great. Yes. Okay. Another question from Dolphin. She says, I hear you constantly giving advice about working with others. I was wondering what you would suggest about choosing your business partners. Um, because I think that matters to, after all, sometimes doing it alone might be better than doing it with a wrong partner. So
Yes.
can I
Don't
get your thoughts on that?
don't be in a hurry to choose a partner. Never be in a hurry. You have to be able to have studied the person, know the person well enough, had a few transactions with them. You have a few transactions with them, that will tell you the sort of persons they are. So don't ever be in a hurry to choose a partner. You make sure that you have tested and tried them, especially with things that concern money. Give me a second, just a second. Sorry about that. Yes, my lighting was paused, so I just worked on it. So you have to make sure that you have had monetary transaction, because even a very good friend can cheat you. So you make sure you even have 1, 2, 3 monetary transactions with them, so you know the way they are, and then you also check their integrity as well. Make sure there are people that have integrity. And before, a business partnership is not a friendly partnership. So for a business partnership, make sure documents are in place and lawyers are in place, because friends do quarrel, friends do disagree. So that if there is any disagreement or the business cannot continue, there's a viable exit plan. So make sure there's a viable exit plan. Don't jump into partnership without having documents signed by both of you. You have to pay the lawyer, even if it's a lawyer that'll do it for free, but make sure you have documentation, so that whenever, if ever it goes sour, everybody parts ways without bitterness. Yes.
Yes, thank you so much. Any other questions, guys? We're finishing. No? Okay. Thank you, Uchenna. Really, thank you so much. It was a pleasure listening to you today and learning from you. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure. It's been nice meeting all of you, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you so much. Have a nice night over there. Thank you,
You
guys.
too. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.